Hey you guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you all a bit of an adventure that I went on. We went from Campbell River, as you guys know I was to for a nice little while, and went all the way up north as far as we could. I'll show you guys that in the video about how far we actually made it. But I didn't really film too much like this, you know, like talking to the camera and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of commentate over the video. It's a little different style video than I usually do, but with the lack of description in the filming, I figured it was necessary. So along with watching today's video, I'm gonna be down here in the corner somewhere kind of commentating on what's going on. I will pop in and pop out, as I did film in certain spots more than others, but I figured that would be a good way to kind of explain what was going on into the video. And then after this video, we're going to go from Campbell River to where I am right now. You guys will have to wait for those videos to see exactly where that is. But for right now, let's get in, get set up, and start watching the video. Let's do it. Alright, I got my little table folded out, sitting in the chair. I have it facing this way now. I'll explain to you guys why about that in a little while. But this is where we're going to start the video off. I'm gonna start the video off right here where I was putting the roof rack back on my van after painting the entire roof. Now for most of you guys who follow my channel, you know that in the last video I went to a lake just to kind of clear my mind of a few things and take some time for me, and that was great. But after that, well, I'll show you exactly what happened. Let's get into it. Okay, so right here in the video, as you guys can see, I was putting the roof rack onto my van, and that was quite the task actually, but I managed to get it up there pretty close to like level and exactly where I needed it right away, which was great. After doing the roof rack, I went back into Campbell River for a bit, and then I ended up seeing this, as you can see, fire near the beach. Well, it wasn't really a fire, but it was close to one, and it would have been had I not caught it. And that's kind of what motivated me to get out of town for a bit and head out to that lake for a while. Once I got back from the lake, I sat at the beach for a bit here down in Campbell River, and you know, I really wanted to still get out of town for a bit, so I picked up Yana, and me and her decided to head up north just to get out of town for a little while. And what you guys are seeing right now is the first rest stop area that we pulled into because she got hungry. Well, I got hungry too. But yeah, she ended up making up this pretty cool pasta meal with some tuna. I'm not exactly sure of all what it is, but it was delicious, I'll tell you that much. And while she did that, I caught up on a few videos. Like I said, I wasn't filming too much, so I was just kind of more of a watcher than a filmer in this sense. But I'm looking forward to getting back into filming as much as possible. Where we had this dinner was right near a lake. We couldn't really see the lake from the rest stop area. You could see the water, but yeah. After that, we moved on a little further north to this cool little port, man. I can't remember the name of it. Let me check. Sayward was the spot that we stopped into here. Totally beautiful. Actually, Yana fell in love with this area. As you can see her on the rock, she was pretty excited to be that far out. It was nice, you know, it was really nice. We spent a lot of time together just kind of hanging out while we were even driving, and any spots that we went to, we hiked together. It was pretty cool. As you can see, we climbed along a nice bit of rocks here, but being that far out near the water and stuff and seeing all the boats and stuff, it was really cool. Even in Campbell River, I didn't go down by the docks too much except for the ferry, so coming down this close to the boats was really nice. It really brought me back to Newfoundland in a way, and seeing all the kind of abandoned boats and strap things all around, that was really cool for me, just being a gearhead and stuff. And once we got over further, you guys will see like there was a crap ton of logs. I think it's like a logging community or something right here. Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of logs in this area. It actually blew me away. Every now and then in Campbell River, you can see them kind of dragging some logs down along the river area. But I've always wondered where they came from, and I think this is where. Once we left that area, we did a nice bit of bushwhacking, I'm not gonna lie. We were looking for a nice spot kind of away from anybody. Everywhere we kind of stopped to along our journey, we ended up kind of just running into other camper vans or people and stuff like that. And we just wanted some time alone, you know. With her time being limited in Canada at this point, we really wanted to just enjoy our time together. So that's kind of what we were looking for here. But yeah, we went a little further than we should have, I think, as you guys will see in this clip. I put a short up about it, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, I wouldn't take my expensive vehicle down there." Well, to be honest with you, I only gained 1 scratch. I thought I was even gonna get more myself, but it was fine, and that's kind of the reason you don't get an expensive vehicle if you want to be actually, you know, bushwhacking and off-roading and stuff. In my case, for this, I plan to paint my van anyway in the future, so I wasn't super worried about the scratches and stuff. I didn't want any dents. That was my main thing. I've got enough dents in this van to kind of work through as I go building the van and doing the paint work and the body work and stuff when that time comes. So as long as I didn't get any dents or pop a tire, was my biggest fear actually driving down these back roads. Everything would have been fine, and it did. It turned out okay, but we definitely did some bushwhacking. We did, I think it was 9 or 10 minutes of this style bushwhacking, way deep into the trail. Now, as you can see, it is a trail, but it hadn't been accessed for quite some time, I think, due to the overhanging trees and stuff. And once we got so far up, you guys will see. Yeah, right here you can see I did my best to kind of get all of the low-hanging big branches out of the way. With adding the roof rack on, I was a little worried about height. If I didn't have the roof rack, I wouldn't have been worried about it at all. But yeah, I also didn't want to really scratch up the new paint on the roof too much. I do plan to do something with that in the future to change that up a little bit, but you guys will see that as it happens. See, these logs along the side, they were my biggest fear because I didn't want to get any dents or pop a tire in the van, as I mentioned. But man, it was fun. It was really fun. Now, as you can see right here, there were a few points where, like, I guess somebody had driven through this trail before and they had a chainsaw and cut the logs out. But with my van being so wide, I wasn't exactly sure if the tires would clear through the cut path. So what I ended up doing was hopping out and just making sure that I had enough width to get through, which I did, which was really cool. So from here we kind of pushed on a little further. And as you can see in the distance here, this is what totally stopped us in our tracks. Now, our first thought was, like, there was 2 of us, so maybe we might be able to move it. But once I got out and even just kind of pushed on it, I was like, there's no way the 2 of us are moving this. And I have an axe. I guess I could have tried, but I think I would have been there for a very long time just trying to get this thing cut. And yeah, then we would have still had to move the log. As you can see right there, like that's a pretty massive tree. So as we were discussing while we were walking right here was the fact that even if we did get it cut, how much further do we want to go down? You know, we might run into something like this, you know, just around the next corner. So that's what kind of really motivated us to go backwards. Unfortunately, as you guys can see in that trail, there was really nowhere to turn around. So for you know, probably 4 or 5 minutes of that road, I totally had to drive in reverse, almost blind, because the mirrors were just getting hit by trees. I tried to keep it so that, you know, I could see at least one mirror a little bit. Now mind you, I'm pretty confident in my reversing, so this wasn't a big deal for me, but it definitely tested my skills for sure. For me, it was more driving fun than it was worrisome. I have been down trails in my old white van before, where just reversing it out of the trail, I totally blew my mirrors off just with low-hanging trees and stuff, so I did not want to have that happen on this one. So I took my time and made sure that I was being careful while reversing. A few people were curious about my front window. The front window was like that before. None of the trees that we were touching in this trail did that to my window. It's actually been like that since I bought the van. So yeah, just a note on that. Yana felt so bad for having to reverse down this trail, but you know, I wouldn't have went down there if I didn't want to myself. I like to be pretty adventurous in ways like that, and with me planning to build more of a hot rod van than an off-road van, I'm hopefully going to lower the van in the future. So I wanted to adventure with this thing as much as possible and make some pretty fun memories. One cool point about this is that if any of you have seen the 8-ball antenna thing, Mr. Blur actually gave me that, and when we got out of this trail, I was pretty surprised to find that it's still hanging on.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. He puts his thing down, flips it, and reverses it. Oh. Ooh. 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 Oh my God. No. I'm so sorry, Bruce.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, on a positive note, that overspray might be gone.
Maybe.
Now, most of the audio was cut from this because we were playing music while driving and stuff. But yeah, once we got out of that trail, backtracked just a little bit, we did find this beautiful lake spot and decided to hang out here for a bit. I think I even talked in this portion of it, so I'll pop out and then you guys can watch that part. Okay, you guys, after some major bushwhacking and some highway cruising, we ended up at this lake. It's not as pretty as it looked on Google Maps, but it'll do. Found a nice little spot to hang out for the night, and tomorrow we'll hit the road again. But right now, we're gonna make some pancakes for dinner. So, let's get right into that. But it is not bad. I like it. My poor van. We've even got a little table here. Starlink's probably gonna have a bit of trouble tonight with the trees blocking us, but it'll be okay. Should make for a beautiful morning view. The next morning, the spot looked way better than it did when we rolled in. Because it was nighttime, we didn't really get to see any of the mountains and stuff in the background. So waking up to this spot was really refreshing, knowing that all of our bushwhacking wasn't for nothing. This spot was actually really good. Got people passing by around me. Just sitting in a parking lot right now. I much rather would have been in that spot right now, I can tell you that. I didn't notice that last night. There's a big old stump here, and then a tiny tree grew out of it. I also see berries. I don't know what kind of berries they are. I'm not a rabbit. Kind of looks like blueberry. Me.
Use me with
Some coffee. We had a squirrel chirping at us this morning. I think you want some of your apples. Squirrel. Or chipmunk, whatever he wants to be called. He can After breakfast at that spot, we decided to push on a little further north. With having this passenger seat right here, there's no way we can cross in between. Yana used to climb over the box at my power box desk thing every now and then, but for me, I just would walk around. And in the mornings, depending on how we would feel, we would just walk around, both of us. And yeah, eventually I'm going to be getting rid of the seat, I think. But for right now, for this trip, it was definitely necessary. Every spot that we went to basically consisted of a lake, because when we were looking for spots to kind of hang out for the day or rest for the night, or even viewing areas, we always looked for a lake or an oceanfront view. On the way back, we actually adventured more adventurous things besides just seeing a lake or whatever. You guys will see that in the video, this video to come, once we get more through it. But these lake areas, you guys, were absolutely beautiful. I can't remember the name of the lake here, but it was very fun. We did have some weather roll in on us while we were on our North Adventure trip with a bit of rain, where I found that the spot that I had cleaned up in the back from that antenna or whatever was on the van before actually leaked a bit on the bed. So right now I just have tape covering that up. We'll fix that up when we go to install the roof vent. Also, no, the roof vent's not open yet, or not installed yet, so we will get to that in the video to come. You guys will see it for sure. Once we left that spot, we went to this kind of, it was supposed to be like some kind of gold mining operation, I think. We didn't see too much remnants of the gold mining operation, except for these two chimneys, and we're not sure if it was from a house or some kind of gold, or a blacksmith metal shop or whatever, because they were pretty big chimneys, and they have two of those. Have two of those very close to each other. I thought maybe a blacksmith area. But she thought it was pretty fun to climb up on those things. Super sturdy and super well built. As you can see, the house is still, their building's gone, but those are still there. It was so cool to see these things standing there. We also seen like a couple old growth trees that were around. A few of them had like some lightning burns or some kind of forest fire, I guess, happened here years ago. But the center of them were like totally burnt out and the tree was still good. So I'm not, somebody in the comments I'm sure knows exactly how that happens, but for me, it was just pretty cool to see. It was pretty eerie in this forest, but we worked our way to the beach and then literally walked along the beach for, I don't know, an hour, maybe two, maybe even three, which was really cool. And after that, we worked our way all the way up to Port Hardy, and that's what you're seeing right here, where we had breakfast, and realized that our spatula, the plastic spatula, was literally melting as we were flipping stuff. So I'm definitely gonna have to get a new, maybe a silicone spatula or something like that. But Port Hardy was really beautiful. Like, the tides came in and went out so drastically. The lighthouse you've seen right there, it looked way lower than, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but you can, like, it's on a tall post. Makes me wonder how they built it, but yeah, it's really cool to see, like, it's so high out of the water when low tide's in, and then when the tide does come in, the water was right at the bottom of that lighthouse. It was really cool. I'm sure they must use it for a tide marker or something, the locals. But once we got up to Port Hardy, I spoke to a few locals, and they mentioned that there was a lake just outside of Port Hardy. And we went and adventured that lake a little bit, but we only stayed for one night and then headed right out, because when I was on the way to the lake on that dirt road, I did notice like a lot of steering slop. My power steering pump is totally done now. It's barely even drinking any fluid, so I know that it's done, and I don't have any power steering at all. But when we were out at that lake, I went and checked the tie rod ends and stuff like that, and they're super loosey-goosey. So from Port Hardy, we started working our way back. I didn't want to take any more dirt roads or really push the van's steering too much more until I got back to a spot where it would have a Canadian tire or you know, a Lordco or something like that where I can get parts. So we just kind of started pushing our way back, which was unfortunate. We were looking to go really far up north, but it is what it is, and we got as far as we could on the highway. Port Hardy is actually the end of the highway, the Trans-Canada Highway, I think. I'm sure there's another highway that goes up that way, but just the roads that we seen up off the highway, you know, they were really bumpy, lots of potholes, and I just didn't want a chance having my steering blow out. This is a really cool Port Hardy sign with, I think it was one of the wind turbine fins, or whatever you call it, wings. But compared to my van, it really puts it into perspective how big those things are. I couldn't believe it myself. It was my first time being up close to one of those things, and from a distance they don't look that big, but when you get up close it's like, holy crap, that is massive. And even for me, like, I've been to the bottom of one looking up at the wind turbines, and nothing compared to literally being right next to one of the wings. They had a little post thing showing how they got it there and where it was, I think, along with other signs from all the towns along the way. We ended up checking out a few of them. We didn't check out Port Alice. I'd like to go back up and check that out. I heard good things. But we'll see. We'll see how the adventures go. I tried to zoom in on these signs for anybody who wanted to pause it and kind of read about what the towns had to offer. And I was pretty interested in it myself. So yeah, it was really cool to see all the little write-ups of all the towns. Zep below, or whatever it's called. We did go see something really cool around that area. Telegraph Cove is another spot that I really want to go check out. We did go into Was and Sayward. I didn't film into Was because there really wasn't too much. We just pulled in, had some supper, and then headed off from there. But it was a nice little town, honestly, it really was. Yeah, see, Port Hardy, where the highway ends, adventure begins. And it's where my steering parts were saying, no more adventure. So we slowly had to work our way back. But I am glad that I stopped in to see the Port Hardy sign, because it gave me a better idea on what's around also. It sucks that we had to move back down island a little more from Port Hardy. Like I said, I would have loved to adventure that area a lot more, but it is what it is, and we had a good adventure either way. This was another little town. I can't remember the name of the town, but we actually passed the exit, turned around, and had to come back for it, and it was totally worth it to see this beach. It did stink a nice bit, but once you walk down the beach a little further, which we did, we walked way down along the beach and came back up to where the van was parked. But it was beautiful. I can even see one of the islands across. It was like a all sandy beach on one of the islands, which was really cool. I would have loved to have like a little blow up boat or something like that, maybe even like a kayak or something, to just kind of work our way over there. That would have been sweet, but maybe it's just something we'll have to come back and adventure also. And that sunset was beautiful, man, it really was. The next morning we woke up in this little kind of trailhead area. We pulled up late and left really early, but we were greeted by this bird who was really loud, but a really beautiful one. It was like a blue jay with black on him. I'm not sure what that bird is called, but it was really beautiful. I loved the blue and the black. The Starlink, as you guys can see, is on the hood. It's just to make it easier for me instead of having to climb up. But it works like that regardless. I've been really enjoying putting it there. I don't think I would ever really mount my Starlink permanently on my roof, because if you end up going to a drive-through or down a trail or something, you don't want to forget about it and then have it be knocked off or damaged or anything like that. I have had it on my roof just for little stints, like driving around a little town or whatever, but never for very far. Mine does have the magnet mounts, and they are really strong, but for me it's just not worth the risk, so I rarely ever do it. Most times I'll just pack it away into my power box desk situation here, where it's nice and safe and I don't have to worry about that. Once we left, or we're leaving, I can't remember the name of this. I'm so bad with remembering the names of towns and stuff. I remember it was a beautiful little port where we showered. Let's see, I think I have Port McNeil. So we showered in Port McNeil, which was really cool because the shower code actually lasted for a few days. We went back the next day to grab a shower also, because it was like, I think $3.50 to shower. And the girl mentioned, like, you know, we did give you guys the tag, and as you can see right there, the tag says code will change 26th of August. And I think we were there like the 23rd or something, and when we went in to go pay for the next day, she was like, no, you can go shower again. That's we don't change the codes for a couple days. You paid, go right ahead. So you can get a couple days shower off at $3.50, which was really cool. So we showered up and hit the road again. Once we left that town, I got like 2 minutes out of town and I seen this sign that said "Rumble on the Runway" with an arrow pointing and drag racing at the bottom. I locked up, turned into that spot as fast as I can, because as you guys know, I love hot rods, I love drag racing and any kind of racing form, basically anything automotive really. So what you're about to see is a bit of drag racing, which was honestly close to my favorite part of the entire adventure. This was the first time that Yana had seen drag racing as well, so it was a good experience for her. And once we left the drag races, we actually just worked our way back to a lake that we had stayed at a few days before. It was really beautiful, so you know you can understand the reason of going back there. We stayed in a little different spot because there was campers in the other spot that we originally went to. But regardless, we found a nice spot along the lake and got as close to the water as possible for two reasons: a good view and a good view away from trees for the Starlink to read its connection. The next day when we woke up, we decided to go check out this little cave area, it said. We came upon a trail after getting off the road a little bit and seen this huge like log graveyard. It was insane. I don't think I've ever seen so many logs in my life all together. I'm not sure if this is on purpose or just Mother Nature made, but it was probably as many logs as we had seen at that other port town. And seeing that we could technically reach them, I knew I wanted to go and walk along some logs in the water and stuff. A lot of you know I can't really swim, so it was up to trusting how good my balance was. I feel comfortable enough to do it. Yana didn't come out quite as far as I did, even though she can swim, but I'm a little more dangerous in that sense. But it was really cool seeing all these huge logs. Like I say, I'm not sure if it's purposely put there or if Mother Nature just made this happen, but it was super cool either way. And from the logs we kind of worked our way to the cave spot that they were mentioning online, and now without having some fun climbing along logs and along the hillside of all the rocks and such. It was so much fun. I love like bouldering, I think they call it, but like rock climbing without ropes and stuff, and climbing along logs and stuff like that kind of made me feel like I was just doing that, you know. I didn't feel any danger. The logs were absolutely crazy slippery, but thanks to the shoes that Randy got me, seemed to be holding on pretty good. I think I only slipped like once or twice really, and it was just because of, you know, dumb decisions and making the wrong step. And once we got to this huge point, there was a really cool bottle that we seen. I didn't touch it because I believe there was others to see as well, but there was a huge log going from one end of the river right across, and I got the bright idea that I wanted to cross it, and I did. You know, it was super fun, but Yana didn't she didn't exactly feel too comfortable once she got halfway.
He's responsible. You go first.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
I peer pressure myself. Yeah, no, I take that other way.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come with you. Wait till I get there, you can hold on to me.
Are you a secure standing person? Okay.
You got it.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Steve would be proud.
Steven, and your pencil.
That one moves, be careful.
Really? Jumping on that?
Doesn't move now.
Nice. Fire.
Oh! Apparently it still moves. That one moves. Oh, both of these move. If you come right here, it should be fine. They're moving, but they're somewhat stationary. There you go.
No.
That was pretty high, though.
Yeah, that would have been horrible.
It's not deep. I would have been fine.
Yeah. But neither of us are insured, Bruce. That's what I keep telling myself in that situation. I can't read.
That's a cave. I always think there's a cat in there. After working our way through the woods and across those logs, we ended up coming across a what looked like a river view spot. But once I looked down further, I realized, like, you know, kind of where's the water coming from. So I ventured a little bit past the guardrail and found a crazy big cave. Clearly you could see that there's tourists and stuff down along the bottom. There was another access point, but we didn't come across that until afterwards. So I adventured and shimmied my way down this little cave entrance, found the big cave, and then we worked our way back around. Pretty cool, eh? So there must be a way down if they're over there. There's always this way.
I can't swim. Okay.
gotta be.
After making our way back up through that original entrance that we went into, we walked all the way around the path, and we found where the main cave entrance was for the tourism. It was really cool because the river, you can see, kind of snaked and followed along the rocks, and worked its way all the way in through the cave. It was such a beautiful river, and I didn't, but Yana ended up going for a swim there. I don't like cold water. So I just continued to climb along the rocks as much as I could. It was really fun. I gotta say, it was definitely really fun. And so beautiful. Like, the cave was massive. After that cave adventure, we went back to the lake, and then we ended up just staying the night there before heading back off in the morning. When we left that spot, it was raining like crazy, so we just decided to push on straight back to Campbell River. And once I got to Campbell River, I quickly realized that not only was my back antenna old piece leaking, my front window was leaking as well. That's something I knew might be possible before even leaving for Vancouver or BC. So before I left Calgary, I actually black siliconed my entire front window's perimeter to try and prevent that. But I guess with the amount of rain that we got, it still just worked its way in. Hopefully I will be replacing that front window eventually, so that's why I never really paid too much mind to it. I just wanted to try and seal it up for now instead of leaking on the floor and possibly rusting that out as well. So, yeah, that was a quick realization. But overall, it was a super nice trip, you guys. Going from Campbell River up to Port Hardy, it was a blast just getting to stop at all the places that we could research and even just find along the way with road signs and such. Going to the beaches, seeing those chimneys, making breakfast in beautiful areas was definitely a highlight of the trip. And being able to spend it with Yana, with her remaining time in Canada, to do something like this felt really special, Even showing her the drag racing, I felt really cool about because she had never seen it. Going cave diving or cave adventuring, whatever you want to call it, that was a blast. And then even once we got back to Campbell River, we took a little bit of time. Yana said goodbye to a few of her friends who were staying in Campbell River at the time, and just had a goofy old time, you know. I'm very grateful to have been able to spend it with someone like her. But you guys will see in the next video that unfortunately, right now in real time, she's headed back to Germany. I dropped her off there yesterday, and we won't be seeing each other for a long time, unfortunately. But I do cherish the time that we spent together. You guys will see our last adventure that we took, going from Campbell River to where I am right now in Nanaimo. She took the ferry over to Vancouver, and then from there flew on to Germany. So that leaves me here in Nanaimo. I'm gonna be in Nanaimo for a little bit. I still have a few things to figure out on whether I'm going back to Alberta, when I'm going back to Alberta, if I'm going back to Alberta, all of that stuff. I do want to make a point of it to go down towards Victoria before leaving, if I do leave before winter. I've got a few things going on in my world that may have me going back to Alberta. It's not like I want to go back to that cold, but I also wouldn't want to stay in the rain either, so it doesn't really matter to me where I spend my winter. I would like to spend it here, but we'll see how everything goes and how the cards unfold. There's a lot going on in my world. I mentioned a nice bit of it to YouTube members in posts and stuff on kind of what my thoughts are and what's going on in my head and in my world. But regardless, I'll figure it out, and I will bring you guys along on each adventure, whether we leave or we stay, and whatever we get up to on the island for the remainder of my time here. And yeah, that basically wraps up the video, you guys. Thank you all so much for joining along on another adventure. This one was definitely a blast, and I look forward to seeing you guys all in the next video. So remember, never give up on living life, because life is the most precious thing we have. See you guys on the next one.